You're on, Jim.
Good morning, and welcome to worship with the Unitarian Universalist Church of Ventura. I am Worship Associate Jim Merrill, along with Worship Associate Sue Brinkmeyer. Our minister, the Reverend Dana Worsnop, is away today. We are joined this morning by the Reverend Pratima Dharm, to whom I will introduce you in just a moment. We are grateful to a whole host of people who make this morning's worship possible and who will be credited on a slide at the end of the service. When we gather for worship, we acknowledge the people who lived on and cared for these lands before European colonization. For most of us joining from Ventura County, they are the Chumash people, and we look forward to a service in March led by a Chumash elder. We are pleased to welcome the Reverend Pratima Dharm to our pulpit today. Reverend Pratima Dharm served as a U.S. Army chaplain for 12 years, both as a Christian and a Hindu chaplain. She retired from active duty in 2017 and received her ministerial credentials from the UU Ministerial Fellowship Committee in September 2016. She was ordained by the Accotink UU Church, Virginia, where she interned for a year, and Cedar Lane UU Church in Maryland in March 2017. After retiring from the U.S. Army, she worked as a part-time chaplain. She worked as a part-time chaplain at Johns Hopkins Bayview Hospital and also served as a part-time minister at Goodloe UU Church in Maryland. She has also served Monte Vista UU Church in Southern California as their minister in the past. She is currently developing a ministry in Southern California based upon feeding people experiencing homelessness. She also serves as a community minister at North Chapel Society in Woodstock, Vermont. She has two daughters, a sophomore in college and a high schooler. Her hobbies are cooking, gardening, reading, sketching, creating cozy spaces, and discovering cafes. Now, let us enter sacred space.
Good morning. I'm Worship Associate Sue Brinkmeyer, and I hope many of you at home have a chalice or a candle to light, and that you'll join Jim and me as we all light our chalices together in honor of the wisdom at the core of each of us and of the love that links us all.
The call to worship today is from our gray hymnal 416. Holy and beautiful, the custom which brings us together in the presence of the Most High. To face our ideals, to remember our loved ones in absence, to give thanks, to make confession, to offer forgiveness, to be enlightened and to be strengthened. Through this quiet hour breathes the worship of ages, the cathedral music of history. Three unseen guests attend: faith, hope, and love. Let all our hearts prepare them. Place the words of Robert French Levins.
Good morning. I'm Carolyn, Bjerke, the music director, and I'd like to welcome you all and invite you to join me in singing our first hymn, Be Thou My Vision. Be thou my vision, O God of my heart, not me all
Thank you, Caroline. How beautiful is your voice, your music that you bring today. And it's very apt because today in India, the land that I come from, we celebrate Saraswati Puja. It is February 6th. And all of the celebrations are based on a lunar calendar. So dates change every year. We don't have Christmas 25th of December every year. Just as an example, it is always going to change. So Saraswati Puja remarkably happens to be today. And I purposely and intentionally chose this theme of wisdom because as we call Saraswati Ma, or the mother, she is one of the goddesses or the aspect of the divine in the feminine that is celebrated throughout India, celebrates the wisdom that Saraswati holds. Now, mind you, India is a very warm country and climate. So by now, already spring is there. So basically today is the celebration of spring, which we call Basant Panchami. Basant means spring. And we welcome in the first time that a child embraces learning. Because the mother goddess, or the aspect of the feminine divine, remember, it's all in the language. So I'm trying to break it down as much as possible in the next 5 minutes or so. The energy that we are invited to embrace or be awake to is wisdom. And so when a child is about 4 or 5 years old, that's the first time that they begin the alphabets, right? They begin to learn, and we buy them books and we buy them notebooks and pencils. And these days they have computers, so which is all wonderful. But I'm sure that the aspect of learning is present even with computers and in this high-tech world that we have come to live in. So this celebration, Saraswati Puja, Puja means worship, and Saraswati is the name of the goddess, is symbolized by a feminine figure that wears a white or sweta. Sweta in Sanskrit is white color garb or garment. It could be a sari, it could be any of the garments, right? And then she's symbolized with something yellow that is like a yellow necklace or garland, which is usually made with flowers, and it symbolizes the ushering in of spring. The color yellow is worn by a lot of Indian people. So if you see us, you know, a lot of Indian people wearing yellow colored tops or, you know, a tie or something, a scarf, and white colored clothes, it's because they have gone to the temple and they're celebrating the onset of spring. She wears, in her hand, she's playing the veena, or the instrument which is the closest to the tanpura or the violin. Okay, so it's a string instrument that she plays. And she's sitting on a swan, again, symbol of wisdom and love. Mind you, even in the West, the swans are supposed to mate for life, or they embody the emerging of something into the bigness or fullness of one's being, right? Swans usually symbolize that. So there is a lot of symbolism in Hinduism or the Vedic understanding. Again, in India, there is no such thing as Hinduism. It was named by the invaders who came to India. So Hinduism is a culmination of various ways of understanding and being. And the purpose of Saraswati is not just wisdom. It's not just knowledge, it's not just learning, but the goal is understanding. And that which we arrive at as we begin the baby steps of learning the alphabets, to arrive at the aspect of understanding, which is what wisdom or Saraswati symbolizes, it takes us a lifetime. And we may never get there, but we always have a promise of that in us. Because when we encounter it, we recognize it. So Vedic understanding, or this festival, Saraswati Puja as we call it, or Basant Panchami, which is celebrated around this time, it really calls us, the children, the women, the men, the gay, the transgender, any which way you identify, to not just acquire knowledge, but to make music together so we can come together as this wonderful community. And for that, we begin today. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti.
One of this congregation's ministries of building community is to give away our entire offering each week to an in-reach fund to assist members and friends in our own church, or through outreach to an organization in the larger community. We now invite you to donate online or by text. You'll see the link on the next slide, along with phone numbers for text to give. Our offering today goes to Worthy Now, a ministry of the Unitarian Universalist Church of the Larger Fellowship, which serves over 1,300 Unitarian Universalists who are living in prison. Worthy Now is rooted in our first principle, which says that each and every person is worthy of love, respect, and support right now, not at some future time when we are better people. Worthy Now provides direct service to UUs who are living in prison, connects them with pen pals in the outside world, and offers classes in the broader community about the prison industrial complex, anti-racism, anti-oppression, and compassionate communication. Here's a letter from the mother of one of the young Unitarian Universalists who is being helped by this program. She writes, "My son Owen made a number of unfortunate choices that landed him in prison for 5 years. As a second-generation UU, I called the UU church near me, the prison, looking for support for Owen. The Worthy Now ministry jumped right in and began providing services for him. Even though Owen grew up a Unitarian Universalist, he took all the RE classes. He told me that he learned even more about Unitarian Universalism through the course provided by Worthy Now, and he was glad he took it. I believe he is becoming a man, but needs direction on moral and ethical decision-making. And I think his pen pal is helping him deal with the trials and fears of prison and with continuing to grow as a person. I know that having the connection with this prison ministry is making a difference for my son. It means the world to Owen and to me. Thank you for giving generously, as you always do, to support this important work."
When I was a boy, each week, on Sunday we would go to church and pay attention to the priest. He would read the holy word and consecrate the holy bread, and everyone would kneel and bow. Today the only difference is everything is holy now. Everything is holy now. When I was in Sunday school, we would learn about the time Moses split the sea in two, and Jesus made the water wine. And I remember feeling sad, miracles don't happen still. Now I can't keep track, 'cause everything's a miracle. Everything's a miracle. Wine from water is not so small, but an even better magic trick is that anything is here at all. So the challenging thing becomes not to look for miracles, but finding where there isn't one. When holy water was rare at best, it barely wet my fingertips, but now I have to hold my breath like I'm swimming in a sea of it. Used to be a world half there, heaven's second-rate hand-me-down, but I walk it with a reverend air, 'cause everything is holy now. Child's face, say it's not a testament, that'd be very hard to say. See another new morning come, and say it's not a sacrament, I tell you that it can't be done. This morning outside I stood, I saw a little red-winged bird shining like a burning bush and singing like a scripture verse. It made me want to bow my head. I remember when church let out, how things have changed since then. Everything is holy now. It used to be a world half there, heaven's second-rate hand-me-down, but I walk it with a reverend air, 'cause everything is holy now.
We are always deeply grateful for the generosity of this congregation. Your gifts are wise threads that run through this community and keep us connected to one another and to the broader world.
Each week, we take time in our service to lift up the joys and sorrows that have been shared with our community. You can submit a joy or a sorrow you'd like to share via a link in our Thursday email bulletin, UUCV this week, or a link on our website, uuventura.org. Those shared by 10 p.m. Saturday will be read the following Sunday morning. Those received after 10 p.m. Saturday will be shared the following Sunday. It's our custom when we're in the sanctuary together, to drop a stone in water as we share each joy or sorrow. The ripples that go out represent the ways in which a joy or sorrow that touches the heart of one of us travels throughout the community to touch us all. I invite you now to speak aloud or hold in your heart or write in the chat the names of those you wish to celebrate or memorialize, or those who need the loving embrace of this community. By invoking their names, even when we may not hear them, you bring them into this circle of caring that we call community. Even as names continue to be shared in the chat, may we hold these names, spoken and unspoken, in the silent sanctuary of our hearts. And may we be truly grateful for all that is our life.
Please join me in song, When Our Heart is in a Holy Place. When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, we are blessed with love and amazing grace. When our heart is in a holy place, when we trust the wisdom in each of us, every color, every creed and kind, and we see our faces in each other's eyes, then our heart is in a holy place. When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, we are blessed with love and amazing grace. When our heart is in a holy place, when we tell our story from deep inside, and the gods and with a loving mind, and we hear our voices in each other's words, then our heart is in a holy place. When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, we are blessed with love and amazing grace. When our heart is in a holy place, when we share the silence of sacred space, and the God of hearts stirs within, and we feel the power of each other's faith, then our heart is in a holy place. When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, we are blessed with love and amazing grace. When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place.
Thank you so much to all of us. And our gathering that just reminds us of what is holy in our midst. I bring to you today an ancient Sanskrit prayer dedicated to the Mother Goddess. I will first say the prayer and I will also speak the meaning. so that we understand each other. Om Asato Ma Sadgamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya. Asato Ma Sadgamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya. Asato Ma Sadgamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya. The meaning of this ancient Vedic chant or prayer is, O Mother Goddess, lead me from untruth to truth. O Mother Goddess, lead me from darkness to light. O Mother Goddess, lead me from death to immortality. Basically, understanding what is really, really important, which is our beloved community. I invite you into a moment of silence to really meditate on what is the most essential that keeps us together. Thank you, Jim. The reading today is called To Live Deliberately. Why should we live in such a hurry and waste of life? We are determined to be starved before we are hungry. I wish to live deliberately, to front only the essential facts of life. I wish to learn what life has to teach, and not when I come to die, discover that I have not lived. I do not wish to live what is not life. Living is so dear. Nor do I wish to practice resignation unless it is quite necessary. I wish to live deep and suck out all the marrow of life. I want to cut a broad swath, to drive life into a corner and reduce it to its lowest terms. If it proves to be mean, then to get the whole and genuine meanness of it and publish its meanness to the world. Or if it is sublime, to know it by experience and to be able to give a true account of it. The words of our amazing and great theologian who was influenced by the Vedas from India, Henry David Thoreau. I am so glad to be in your midst today. And I just don't say I'm glad. I say it because I feel it. Yesterday, I had invited to my home friends, and somehow the conversation steered to, when was the first time a parent said to us that they loved us? This was a gay lesbian couple that had actually lost family. They had been ostracized. And one of them, is a friend and has become a dear friend, served in the military at a time that it was very, very difficult for women to serve. And she was in the military police. The trauma that she experienced lives with her to this day. So it was very important to me, from the background that I come from, how I understand community is to create that sacred space. Jim introduced me that I create sacred space. It's not because I am finicky about how the color of the wall should match the decor of the sofa. Or there should be a lamp at a certain place. All of that is important and significant. But the sacred space is empty when there is no one present. The sacred space becomes full when we all gather together. That was the basic understanding of my Vaishnava tradition that I come from. Now, Hinduism, or the Vedic way, Sanatana Dharma, again, as I was sharing the story with all of you of Saraswati, Hinduism was the term given by the Western and the Middle Eastern invaders for almost 2,000 years. They could not grasp what is India. What keeps this very, very unique and diverse and crazy country together? And the answer is that since we are children, we have a saying that we stamp it into the kid. Stamp is a language that we use, like kut kutke. Like we press it and we make sure that the impression is really deep and deep-seated, and it takes such a deep root in the individual as they are babies and as they are children, even in the mother's womb. The essence of coming together in the wisdom way is that creating that space, that table, where people like my friend who has been ostracized by her family to this day, come on. Her father from the Midwest has never spoken to her because she came out. And as we had food, then I grew up eating a different kind of food, create a sacred space. I tried to tune into what would make the guests happy. Atithi is the word, the Sanskrit word. And it literally means when we create a sacred space, and when I do this namaste, is I'm acknowledging the divine or divinity within you. But before I can acknowledge the divine in you, I have to acknowledge the divine in me. If I cannot see myself, I cannot see you. So from that land of India, we call it Aryavart, which is the ancient name of India. The British came and changed it to India. It was called Bharat. The first official king of India was Bharat. That's the name of India. I see somebody's cat and their tail listening and paying attention to what is this noise? But I feel her energy. Animals are so, and we talked about, because my friend is taking care of, she started a dog and cat caring business at a time that she was rejected by everybody. And invariably, I had cooked a meal that everybody loved. And that's not something that I grew up eating. I learned it here in Southern California. I cooked a chicken, cheese, spinach, golden potato soup. I had dinner rolls. I had butter. The soup smelled just right. Then I made those latke types, potato patties. Someone had brought fruit. Someone had brought cake. Someone brought salad. And so people relaxed and people started talking about the first time that they had been told that they were loved. And my friend's partner amazed me by her answer. And she said, the first time her mother said to her that I love you was when she was 28 and somebody had passed away in the family. I want you to really take a note of this moment, because I stopped eating. And she had tears in her eyes. And she said to me and to others at the table, it was all about them being right. Emotions were not shown in the home. It was what they believed, and what they believed was always right. And this little girl grew up to be 28 years old, and she heard her mother for the first time tell her, I love you. And it was sort of offhand. It was in passing. It was vague, but she grasped at it and she said, I cannot tell you what it felt like to be told, I love you. Something happens. If I speak into this space, though it is a Zoom space, it is still space. everything is matter, and space is part of that matter as we understand it. This is our world. So the Zoom is air, one of the elements, right? And we have come to embrace Zoom in the age of the air. It's very natural. So let us just stop resisting. It is still sacred space. It is air. It's part of matter. It's part of what holds all of this earth and the universe together. One of the elements, air. And one of the most powerful words that holds this entire universe together is love. Story of Saraswati, she was, the inception or creation of Saraswati was from Brahma. Brahma is considered the father in the Indian or the Vedic understanding of the Holy Trinity, the father, the creator, and the destroyer. So Brahma, Shiva, Vishnu. Brahma, the creator, created Saraswati out of his thigh because as he created the world and the universes and Brahmand, his name Brahma itself means universes or vastness. The meaning is brih, the root word vast. He was taking a walk and he realized things don't seem right. This feels lonely. There is no sound. There is no music. So he created, it's a story. It's a story. But the essence is beautiful. Saraswati was created to bring forth sound in the form of music. That is why the veena, the instrument of veena, the musical instrument of the violin, the Indian veena. She's associated with learning. We have to learn so we can understand that what really matters is love. So Saraswati symbolizes wisdom, as Brahma knew that the world needs wisdom. And the Sanskrit word is jnanam, that is to know. English is an Indo-European language. So to know is jnanam in Sanskrit. I am that is aham tvatva. That's in Sanskrit. English is derivative of Sanskrit. But it's not about how much I know. Again and again, wisdom is how I am touching you, how you are touching me, how we are creating the sacred space to create the community. Wisdom has no purpose but to create those sacred spaces where we can come together to hear the music of love. And then our heart opens up when we hear love. We feel it, not in the heart, in the head. Heart is just an organ. We have been confused for ages between being told the heart feels sensations of love. It's the mind that knows when you are truly loved. And that is a moment of understanding. No matter what people tell you, you will feel it, that emotion of love in your brain. And then the click happens. You can say it very emptily to somebody, I love you, I love you, I love you, I love you. But when your dog or your cat comes and sits in your lap, and your dog does this, lap around you when you come home tired, or just looks at you like, why are you upset? Why don't you play with me? What do you see in the eyes? What do you feel? A click happens. Sometimes it's the connection between humans and a dog. And the human realizes the dog knows how to love. I have to learn. And there is wisdom in that. So I'm not sharing with you a religion. I go past that. I have never, ever been interested in religion. And good for you if you have a religion, all for it, go for it. For me, the world has enough of religions. We really have to understand each other. And it happens in a click. When we constantly use our logical brain. No, I'm going to hold it. I'm going to hold it. I'm not going to feel any emotion. No, nope. I'm going to go back and read about it, what this situation is. I'm going to try to research it because nope, I don't understand. I need to read up. Or you've held your emotions so much, you're going to burst and you have that crazy moment. Even when your wise mind is holding you back, honey, don't go there. There's trouble. Saraswati, the aspect of Saraswati Ma, reminds us through music and learning and understanding that it's okay, you had that moment, now come back. That is why in the Vedic understanding, the practice of meditation is important to still ourselves. Without stilling ourselves, we cannot tune ourselves to the Saraswati mind or the wise mind. From there, the balance is created where I don't have to get upset so much. We're inside a church meeting, and all of a sudden, the emotions are so, ooh, because your feelings got hurt. Come back and ground yourself in the wise mind. Saraswati teaches us. Is it about the person? Is there something that is unresolved inside of you that you really perhaps are being reminded to take some time aside to maybe give yourself that time? Because we all deserve that time. We deserve that healing. Sometimes we need that moment. And that's why church, community, beloved community is so important. That we offer that sacred space to people to mess up and not judge them. Because believe it or not, when we give others that space, that it's okay to mess up, it's okay. And we are offering our wisdom mind to them, wisdom energy to them. Sometimes all of us need to gather around somebody who's having a tough day, tough time, tough period in life. Somebody's had a grieving going on for like 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, sometimes 20 years, 30 years. And the person has really never, ever given themselves or felt the permission to grieve. But it'll come out in a meeting. So the wisdom aspect of it should kick in. And go back into our principles. The human worth and dignity. What it is that we have to look at each other with acceptance and love. And we have to give ourselves that acceptance and love. I'm saying something very significant here. I'm actually inviting all of us, including myself, into practice. I mess up every day. And I come to you from a place of mess and my own holiness. My holy mess. Because we have so many different aspects to us. We don't have to be perfect, but the perfection is in the imperfection. And that is what wisdom is about. When we attune ourselves to the wise mind or the wise energy, whatever you want to name it, we are not so quick to judge. We all have a different brain. We all have a different body. Why don't we judge people when somebody gets some disease and you don't get it? But if somebody thinks a certain way, we are quick to judge. Just the way the body is diverse, the mind is also diverse. The spirit is a person, an individual is also as diverse. We're all on our own individual search and path for truth and meaning. Everybody can be in the same space. I'm drinking this right now. You know what this is made of? Peach, ginger, hot water. Somebody else is drinking coffee. Someone else is having something else, maybe Coca-Cola. It doesn't matter. We are so diverse, and it's okay to be diverse. And that is what the wise mind says, is to look around you, look at the bigger picture. You are a tiny part. I am a tiny, like a sand bit compared to the Brahman or Brahma. And Saraswati comes as a reminder to us. The season of yellow, the season of orange, the season of color, the season of spring. Think in a way that is more open. It's not about how you're going to impress somebody with how much you know, or how much you can shut somebody down with all the freaking emotion you have in your soul, in your heart, in your mouth. But how you take that moment from your wisdom mind as an opportunity to heal yourself and the person and the community. We are all hurting. The purpose of church is to know that truth. As long as we live, we will carry hurt with us. And our greatest need is to be loved. The more we meditate on our wisdom mind, the more we will understand it. And it's going to go into, as I was saying, press deep and deep and deep. Not to see people as what value they add to the church, to the community, to the world, to the house, to the family. What are they contributing? We don't have to contribute a thing. And we are still enough, and we are still okay, and we are still whole. We are part of this universe. Why don't we get this straight in our head? The wisdom mind teaches us that we are part of this universe. Is there anything defective in this universe? How can you and I be defective? We have things that happen to us. We have life that happens to us. We have grief that happens to us. But we are not that. Aham Tattva. That's where the meditation in the Vedic understanding is, that we meditate on, I am that. I am that self. I am that pure self. I am enough. There's nothing defective about you and I. Nothing. I can say this with whatever little I know, and I know nothing. I urge you this morning to take a couple of minutes each morning, each evening, during the day, whenever you can remind yourself to use your wise brain or wise mind, wise spirit, that energy that asks us to just slow down and Tune in with the sound of the universe. Om. Tune in with the energy of Saraswati. Tune in that every moment you can begin anew. Universe does it. The earth does it. Look around you. The animals do it. They're constantly, even when you say, no, sit down, bad boy, bad dog, kitty, don't eat that. Okay, cats are totally different. They have their own personality. I'm not going to go there. But dogs. Cats will actually tell you, you know what, you messed up. I'm going to go into the next room. You really messed up. But dogs, dolphins, the universe around us is constantly affirming, and we will hear the sound of love coming from the universe, filling us with the feeling that it's okay if some people couldn't say, I love you. They didn't know. You know that you can find love anywhere. And the first place is you, your heart, your spirit, your mind. The love is already there. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Blessed be.
Thank you so much for that beautiful message of the preciousness of our diverse and loving community. May we all use our wisdom. Please join me, everyone, in singing our closing hymn, Go Lift It Up.
As our service comes to an end, we extinguish our chalices, but not the light of faith, the warmth of community, the fire of commitment, and our ever-present awareness of the wisdom that surrounds and inhabits us. After the benediction, you'll be invited to breakout rooms for a virtual coffee hour. You can join your group or opt out at that point. Even if you are new to us, especially if you are new to us, we sincerely invite you in. When you are ready to chat with a different group, you can go into a different room, either by choosing another room yourself or by returning to the main room, where you can ask to be put into a new breakout room. Today, Reverend Dharm will remain with us in the main breakout room, and you are invited to join her for further discussion or reflection on all that we've experienced in today's service.
I invite you into a moment of prayer before we disperse into separate rooms. Let us go forth with a reminder of the wisdom of the ages, setting the intention to practice wisdom in our present, filled thus with the hope for our future together. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Blessed be.
When a member of our congregation passes, we light a memorial candle from our communal chalice flame. In a moment, Jim will light our memorial candle from the chalice, extinguish the chalice for a moment, then relight our chalice with the enduring flame of our memorial candle. Today, we light our memorial candle for much beloved longtime church member Joe Hutchins, who died unexpectedly Tuesday afternoon following a sudden cardiac event. Joe was surrounded by family and was in no pain when he passed. For now, the family is taking time and space to grieve cards and physical letters would be much appreciated. The family will hold a memorial service at a later time when we can all be together as a beloved community. May we hold Joe's wife Sylvia and their children Katie and Matthew tenderly in our hearts and surround them with our love.